Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. I'm your humble host, Logan Albright. I'm on the road this week and I'm not around, so I'm recording this in the past and I haven't had time to read another book for you yet. But I thought instead of that, I can talk about my recent Criterion Collection haul. We can talk about movies instead, because as you know, if you watch my channel regularly, twice a year, the Criterion Collection, this beautiful boutique Blu-ray label, has a 24-hour flash sale where all their products, which are normally prohibitively expensive, are half off. And every time it comes around, I try to buy a bunch of movies because I want to learn more about movies and see good movies. So I wanted to go through the movies that I bought this time and see what you think of them. A lot of these were blind buys. A lot of them I had not seen before, but I'm kind of cheating this, and it's not like an unboxing video because I've already opened them and I've already watched several of them. So I'll talk about those as we get to them. So some of the ones that I hadn't seen when I ordered them, I have now seen. Starting with Don't Look Now, the Nicholas Roeg film starring Donald Sutherland from 1973, I believe. This is based on a Daphne du Maurier short story, which I actually reviewed earlier this year on my channel in a collection of Daphne du Maurier short stories. I love the story. I love horror movies. I love 70s horror movies in particular. And I was really excited to see this. It's been out of print for a long time on Criterion, and they finally got it back in, so I'm really happy to get it. And I recently watched it, and it's really good. It's a very strange, enigmatic sort of horror movie. Not the kind of thing you would expect from a horror movie, and I really like that. So great film. Next up, Picnic at Hanging Rock, 1971, a landmark of Australian cinema. It is a weird movie. I ended up really liking it. I hadn't seen it when I ordered it, but I watched it. It was the first movie I watched out of the ones I bought. It takes place at the turn of the century, 1900. It's an all-girls school in Australia, and some of them go on a picnic at a geological feature called Hanging Rock, hence the title. And a few of them go missing, and they can't figure out what happened to them. And it's just a sort of unsolved mystery. It's based on a novel. It's not based on a true story, although a lot of people thought it was. But it's very eerie and dreamlike, and you don't get a lot of satisfactory explanations for what happened, which I kind of like. I like ambiguity in movies, and I thought it was a beautiful film. I really liked it. Next up, Straw Dogs, which I think is also 1971. Sam Peckinpah's violent masterpiece starring Dustin Hoffman. Again, I had not seen it when I ordered it. I have since watched it. I really liked it. It's very interestingly directed. It was considered extremely shocking and violent at the time it came out. I find it a little bit less shocking and violent now with the benefit of 50 years of hindsight. But it came out the same year as A Clockwork Orange, and it started this whole uproar about violence in cinema. It's basically a man defending his property who's mad as hell and he's not going to take it anymore. I really liked it. I thought the performances were great and the direction was really cool and interesting. Next up, The Trial by Orson Welles, based on a story by Kafka. I am not really a Kafka fan. I find a lot of that Eastern European Soviet kind of writing very bleak and nihilistic, and it's not the kind of thing that I really enjoy, but I'm a huge Orson Welles fan, so I wanted to get this. It stars Anthony Perkins, and Orson Welles also makes an appearance in it. He's always great. He's always fun to watch. I love his voice. Anthony Perkins is a great actor. He's great to watch too. The story I didn't love because it's a little bit too of this, same kind of Soviet, mired in bureaucracy, warnings against the dangers of totalitarianism, which I'm all for, but it gets a little samey after a while. But it's very interestingly directed. It's very kind of German expressionist, lots of shadows. It's in black and white, lots of weird camera angles and bizarre sets. Very interesting from a cinematography standpoint. Next up, the animated film Watership Down from 1978. Fascinating animated film. I never saw this as a kid. I know a lot of people did and were kind of traumatized by it because it's sort of realistically violent and has a lot of death and animals getting murdered in it. But I thought it was really good. It's a very strange movie. The 70s had a lot of weird animated things. This is around the same time as the Rankin Bass animated Hobbit film came out, which I also like. So it's interesting to go back and look at these with adult eyes and kind of appreciate the animation style and the voice acting from some really famous actors. John Hurt is the lead in it. I thought it was great, and I like that it doesn't pull its punches with some of the violence, and it's a real thing. Watership Down was a book that I read as a child, and I really, really loved, and it remains one of my favorite children's books, and so I think this is a pretty good adaptation of it. Next up, the Andrei Tarkovsky historical epic, 3 hours long, Andrei Rublev. This I watched last night. Tarkovsky is someone who I've warmed up to over the years. The first film I saw of his was Solaris when I was very young, and I didn't get it at all. I thought it was incredibly boring. and I didn't watch him for many years. And then I watched Stalker, which I loved instantly and thought was incredible. And then I watched Mirror, which I also loved. And so I wanted to watch more of his films. So I picked out this one. It's his second feature overall. It's very long and ponderous. It's in black and white. It's very slow paced, like all of his films are. I struggle with it a little bit because it's like 3 hours of reading subtitles and nothing really happening. But I think it's a beautiful film, and I think I will enjoy it more with more rewatches. And it's kind of broken up into chapters, and some of the chapters I think are really gorgeous. And the ending sequence is in color, and the ending sequence is breathtaking. He's a master of color. So I'm really starting to appreciate Tarkovsky. Many people consider him one of the greatest filmmakers of all time, and I don't argue with that because I think his films are really, really interesting and cool. Next up, this little new box set that they just released by Todd Browning, Sideshow Shockers. The headlining feature here is Freaks, of course, which I have seen. It's a classic that was kind of suppressed for a long time and not released because it was deemed to be too shocking, featuring real circus performers. It was kind of billed as a horror movie, but it's really more of a tragic drama than that. It's not really a horror film. And it's packaged here with two of his other lesser-known films called The Unknown and The Mystic, which I have seen neither of those, so I'm excited to check those out. But Todd Browning is an interesting director. He did the original Dracula, so I'm curious to see what that's like. And it's been a long time since I've seen Freaks, so I'll probably watch that again and enjoy it. Okay, now we're on to the films that I have seen before I purchased them. This is Being John Malkovich, one of the strangest movies I've ever seen. And I'm not talking strange as in like avant-garde, it's impossible to tell what's going on, experimental film sort of strange. It's a normal story. It's not a normal story at all, but it's filmed like it's a normal story. It's filmed like a normal movie with normal performances and a linear storyline. It's just that storyline is utterly, utterly bizarre, and I don't know how anyone was able to come up with it. I've seen it a couple times, and it's just fascinating because it's just such a strange, weird movie. It's sort of a black comedy. It's sort of creepy. It's got a lot going on, but if you're into unique storytelling, Being John Malkovich, it's hard to beat because it's just so weird. Next up is After Hours. I'm not a big Scorsese guy. I've never really loved Scorsese's films. I know people revere him as one of the greatest filmmakers ever. He's never really clicked with me, but this Scorsese film I absolutely adore. It is a black comedy starring Griffin Dunne. I knew Griffin Dunne from one of my favorite horror movies, American Werewolf in London. He's sort of the sarcastic friend who gets killed early in the movie. And he's hilarious. And I always wondered why he didn't get more leading roles because I thought he was great. He's the lead in this. It has a lot of other major actors in it. And it's basically about a guy who decides very unwisely to leave his New York apartment after midnight and go out to try to meet a girl. And it's all the crazy New York stuff that happens to him and his quest to try to get home. It's really funny. It's really wild. It really captures that kind of New York energy. I really love that film. Okay, there's two more here. And I haven't seen either of these. And I don't know very much about either of them. The first one is The Vanishing. This is a Dutch film. It's a thriller about a woman who goes missing, and then her husband is trying to find her. That's really all I know about it. I like thrillers. It sounded intriguing based on the description. It's supposed to be kind of dark and spooky and terrifying, and I love that kind of stuff. So although I don't think I've ever seen a Dutch film before, so this will be a first for me. But I'm looking forward to that one. And then finally, last but not least, I have Kronos, the first feature film by Guillermo del Toro. I like Guillermo del Toro's films a lot. I love Pan's Labyrinth. I love Crimson Peak. I have The Devil's Backbone in my collection too, which I need to rewatch. And so I'm interested in his stuff. I think he's a great filmmaker. And this is his first film. I believe it's about vampires, and Kronos is like a reference to their immortality. But I'm not sure. It's in Spanish. I'll have to watch it and let you know. But I like Guillermo del Toro, so I thought this would be a good purchase to complete his kind of first early trilogy of Kronos, The Devil's Backbone, and Pan's Labyrinth before he moved on to more eclectic things. So that was my purchase from the Criterion Collection. 11 films, if you don't count the additional features by Todd Browning. I'm looking forward to watching the ones I haven't seen. I've enjoyed all the ones that I have seen. The thing I love about Criterion is their curation is so good that I almost never blind buy a film and end up regretting it or not liking it. There's only maybe 2 films in my collection that I don't particularly like. All the rest are great. You discover new things that way. So I'll be watching those and watch this space. I will come back next week with another book review, but this is just a placeholder while I'm out of town and not able to do my regularly scheduled programming. So I hope you appreciate that and enjoy it. If you did, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, check the bell for notifications, and leave me comments down below about these movies and other movies you would like to see other things from Criterion that you think I should purchase. I'm getting a pretty sizable collection now, so it's kind of exciting. But I'd love to know your thoughts down below. And until next time, I'll catch you later. I've been your host, Logan Albright. Take it easy.